The Empire strikes first. The sky over New York turned black at noon. It wasn't clouds or smoke, though those would follow soon enough. It was the shadow of a fleet, massive alien warships blotting out the sun as they descended through Earth's atmosphere. People stopped in the streets, staring up, unsure whether to scream or pray. Within minutes, every major city on Earth received the same transmission. A tall, cold-eyed figure appeared on every screen. Smooth purple skin, silver armor, a voice like static and thunder. "We are the VA Curry Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender unconditionally, and you will be allowed to serve. Resist, and you will be extinguished." Humanity didn't have time to respond. Less than an hour later, the bombardment began. Columns of plasma fire lanced from orbit, incinerating entire neighborhoods in seconds. Beijing vanished in light. Paris cracked open. Lagos was turned to glass. Captain Elena Rourke watched her hometown burn from the rooftop of a hospital in Colorado Springs. She had been off duty, helping train civilian medics, when the first strike landed. The city's emergency broadcast had barely crackled out before silence took over, only interrupted by distant thunder and sirens that didn't last long. She wasn't military anymore, not officially, but old habits didn't die. Within an hour, she had organized survivors, set up triage, and gathered weapons from a National Guard depot whose commander never showed up. She stared into the sky, smoke stinging her eyes, fury settling deep into her bones. "This isn't war," she muttered. "This is extermination." Reports crackled over scavenged radios. Cities wiped out. World governments in chaos. Satellites jammed or destroyed. The VA Curry had come not to conquer, but to erase. But in the chaos, something else began to stay. Elena wasn't alone. Scattered voices from around the globe. Soldiers, civilians, hackers, medics, hunters, mechanics. All refusing to die quietly. In the woods, in basements, in shattered streets, humanity began to fight back with whatever they had. A broken radio operator from Australia repeated the same phrase across the waves. "The bastards think we'll kneel. Let's make 'em bleed." Elena stood over a map spread across a hospital cafeteria table, marking alien troop movements with a piece of charcoal. Survivors looked to her, not because of rank, but because she acted. She didn't wait for orders. Orders were dead. "We don't have plasma rifles," she told them. "We don't have ships, but we've got brains, rage, and a planet that bites back." Outside, the night lit up again, another city dying somewhere far off. Elena didn't flinch. She raised her weapon, scavenged from a fallen alien scout, and looked her people in the eye. "They want to crush us. Good. Let's show them what happens when you corner a species that never learned how to quit." The resistance awakens. The VA Curry made one critical mistake. They thought fear would be enough. It wasn't. They expected Earth to crumble beneath their firepower, for its scattered governments and unarmed civilians to plead for mercy. Instead, they met an enemy that refused to die quietly. In the snow-covered Rockies, Elena Rourke led her first ambush against a VA Curry patrol 2 weeks after the initial bombardment. 3 armored scouts, moving through the trees like ghosts, scanning for survivors. She and a dozen others waited beneath camouflaged nets, heartbeats synced to silence. The moment the lead scout passed the signal tree, they struck. Homemade explosives and stolen alien rifles turned the quiet forest into a killing field. 2 VA Curry fell instantly. The third scrambled behind a rock outcrop, only to be finished off by a teenager named Sam with a rusted hunting rifle and ice in his veins. Elena moved quickly, stripping gear from the bodies. Plasma cells intact. Translate that HUD readout. Let's figure out what these bastards are looking for. Every skirmish taught them something new. The resistance wasn't centralized. It couldn't be. But it didn't need to be. In Mumbai, engineers hacked into downed VA Curry drones and learned to jam their signals. In the jungles of the Congo, militias used the thick terrain to trap patrols and steal energy packs. On the outskirts of Berlin, hackers hijacked an alien surveillance tower and fed the Dominion false troop movements. Humanity adapted fast, because it had no choice. Elena listened to scattered broadcasts from across the world. a preacher in Brazil urging defiance, a nurse in Tokyo sharing alien biology tips, a grandmother in Poland coordinating supply drops for fighters. None of them knew each other. All of them were part of something bigger than themselves. In the ruins of an abandoned ski resort, Elena's group found shelter and set up their first outpost. Solar panels from crushed-wrecked ships powered heaters and lights. Engineers turned alien scraps into scanners. The kitchen served rice and canned beans. They called it Bastion 1. Every night, survivors wandered in, exhausted, wounded, angry. They brought stories of brutality, but also of resistance. Farmers in Montana had taken down a walker using tractor fuel and fertilizer. A tribe in the Amazon vanished into the trees and returned with the heads of 3 scouts. Elena stood before her people one night, a Vietcongese helmet under her arm. They thought we'd scatter. We're gathering. They thought we'd be easy prey. But Earth is a death world, and we're its apex predators. Cheers echoed across the lodge. Not loud. There wasn't strength for that yet, but steady. Determined. The resistance wasn't just surviving anymore. It was growing teeth. Turning point, Operation Wildfire. The first real blow came not from a gun, but from a code. In a hidden server room beneath the ruins of Prague, a group of teenage hackers, refugees turned cyber warriors, broke into the HFY command mesh. They didn't take it down completely, but they did what no species had done before. They made the Dominion blind. For 37 minutes, HFY patrols across Eurasia lost navigation. Supply drones crashed mid-flight, and high command nodes broadcast scrambled gibberish. The resistance struck everywhere at once. It was called Operation Wildfire, a coordinated, global counteroffensive built from stolen intel, encrypted signals, and human desperation. Resistance cells that had once acted in isolation now hit as one. Guerrilla groups in Siberia, rebels in Morocco, and stranded naval crews off the Pacific coast all launched synchronized strikes. Bastion 1 lit the beacon first. Elena Rourke stood atop a ridge outside Salt Lake City, binoculars in hand, watching an alien garrison cluster around a gravity well transmitter. She keyed her MIC all teams. Green light. From the tree line, a volley of homemade EMP launchers fired. A second later, scrap-built drones buzzed down from the mountains, loaded with explosives and vengeance. The gravity well imploded inward, vaporizing half the HFY camp. The rest were taken by gunfire, blades, and bare hands. Elena didn't celebrate. Not yet. She moved fast, securing the site and retrieving data from a still-flickering HFY console. A message scrolled across the screen, translated thanks to weeks of stolen tech and sleepless effort. Earth resistance has exceeded predicted thresholds. Recommend withdrawal from Zone 7. She sent it to every resistance leader on the planet. Let them see. Let them know. News poured in. Oh, in Egypt, resistance fighters flooded a buried alien command bunker and sealed it shut. Oh, in Alaska, a squad of Marines downed a HFY transport and salvaged enough gear to outfit a small army. Oh, in Nairobi, repurposed sound cannons drove an entire alien platoon into disarray, then ambush. The unthinkable had happened. The HFY were losing ground. Elena sat beside a fire that night, helmet in her lap, face worn but eyes alive. Sam, now her second-in-command, dropped beside her with a grin. You hear what they're calling us in the intercepted feeds. She shook her head. Shadow burners. Makes us sound like monsters. Elena didn't smile. They lit the fire. We're just making sure it spreads. Above them, stars shimmered. Somewhere up there, HFY command ships still waited. Still watched. But now they watched nervously. Earth hadn't fallen. It had ignited. And the Dominion was beginning to understand what every human knew by instinct. You don't start a war with Earth and expect to leave whole. Retaliation. The HFY High Command issued a single word across their war network. Purge. Humiliated. Cornered. Bleeding. They responded as empires always do, by trying to burn away what they couldn't control. Giant orbital platforms descended into low atmosphere, their weapons glowing hot with the energy of suns. They targeted resistant strongholds, refugee zones, any cluster of human defiance. Not to conquer, not even to win, just to punish. But they were too late. The resistance was no longer a scattered flame. It was wildfire, uncontained and unstoppable. In orbit, stolen VA Curry corvettes, flown by hastily trained human crews, rammed into the outer layers of the Dominion fleet, detonating fusion cores and crippling weapons arrays. On the ground, guerrillas launched surprise raids on control pylons, forcing enemy units to retreat or collapse without coordination. In Bastion 1, Elena Rourke stood before her people, calm as ever despite the distant rumble of fire from the sky. The ridge behind them shook with every blast, but no one ran. They weren't survivors anymore. They were fighters. A young mechanic sprinted up with a breathless report. We got a direct channel to the VA Curry fleet. Elena took the MIC, no hesitation. This is Captain Rourke of Earth's Resistance. You failed. You tried to crush us, and now your empire is rotting from the inside out. We're not surrendering. We're not stopping. We're coming for you. A beat of silence. Then the screen showed something that no resistance leader had expected. An alien face, not cold and commanding, but gaunt and exhausted. A VA Curry captain, bleeding from the brow. We underestimated you. That won't happen again. Elena leaned forward. Good. We'll make sure you don't forget. With one last strike, coordinated through resistance hubs across 3 continents, humans launched a final series of attacks, targeting Dominion uplinks, communications nodes, and field commanders. The strikes weren't just tactical. They were personal. In the Amazon, tribes who had never bowed to anyone dragged a VA Curry general from a crash skimmer and returned him to the jungle, without his armor. In Munich, captured Dominion soldiers were handed tools, not chains. Start digging, one rebel told them. You destroyed our homes. Now you'll help rebuild them. And above the Pacific, a jury-rigged human missile, guided by AI fragments and human grit, slammed into the VA Curry flagship, tearing it in half and sending its burning remains across the sky like a falling star. The purge failed. The fleet fled. Earth stood, bruised, blooded, but unbroken. Months later, the resistance officially became the Terran Defense Accord. Elena Rourke was offered rank, medals, speeches. She refused them all. Instead, she stood on a mountaintop with Sam and a handful of fighters, looking over a rebuilt relay tower streaming human signals into deep space. They'll come again, Sam said. Elena nodded. Next time, we'll be ready. And this time, we won't just survive. She turned her eyes to the stars. We'll hunt.